Today's been our day that we've heard from the three-row officers, so this is a question that's come up a number of times, but I wanted to ask you a question in the capacity that your office handles as an issuing authority of general obligation debt in the Commonwealth. And specifically, there's some concerns that have been raised about the first series of Commonwealth general obligation bonds that were issued in 2018, in that they included capitalized interest, or the fact that the interest payments for the first few years on those bonds was rolled into the principal on those bonds. It's my understanding that legislation had previously been enacted that was intended to remove some of these less than sound financial practices from authorization, one of them being Act 45 of 2017. So I was wondering if you could address for us what sort of a legal review your office does when it comes to the issuance of general obligation debt, and whether you feel that the capitalized interest that was rolled into these 2018 bond issuances was appropriate given the enactment of Act 45 of 2017.
Sure. Obviously, first off, thank you for your service and your continued service to the country and to the Commonwealth. We would review a bond agreement as we would a contract. I think Representative Lawrence asked me about this before. For form and legality, we tend not to get involved in analyzing the financial aspect of it. That may be an issue that the treasurer could more appropriately address. And as it relates to the particular transaction that you raised, I'd have to go back and study it in order to answer the second part of your question. And we'd be happy to get back to you on that.
I appreciate that. Just for in going forward, could I ask you to maybe give us a little bit of insight into how you would view a transaction that involves the capitalization of interest into the principal of a bond going forward? Do you think that would be a responsible management technique, or what would your recommendations be as we go forward?
I think I'd have to get back to you with an opinion on that. I'd have to be careful because I'm restricted in my ability to offer legal opinions in this form. They have to be requested of me by the governor or by an agency. And I don't know that this would satisfy that requirement. By the way, not my requirement, the requirement under the Commonwealth Attorneys Act. So to the extent that I could offer some thoughts, I will. I don't know that I could offer legal guidance on something that would be prospective.
And I appreciate that, and certainly I would welcome your thoughts. I think just overall, like I said, this is a conversation we've had with the three-row officers today, but certainly I think that it is important to have the conversation, and a concern that I would have, certainly as a father of a 2-year-old little girl, and looking at the generations of Pennsylvanians that will come after us, how we shift expenses on to future generations is a concern. And I know that with this series of bonds that were enacted in 2018, it resulted in $42 million worth of interest being rolled into the future without accounting for that up front in a responsible manner. So it's a transaction that is alarming to me, and something that I'd like to call attention to, and certainly would encourage your office to look at more closely in the future.
I sure will.
I appreciate it, General. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. Thank you.